Greetings everyone, and I hope you are all fit and well out there, and welcome back to the channel for another 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. Well, I say 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review, a bit more of a retro review this one. This figure's been in the collection a while and it's about 6 or 7 years old. But it's the first part of a 3-figure set that we're going to be taking a look at from Asmus Toys. And they're taking some of the characters from the 2015 Tarantino-directed Western The Hateful Eight. We'll be starting the trio off with Marquis Warren, then we'll be taking a look at the hangman himself, John Ruth, and wrapping the whole thing up with Daisy Domagru. But yeah, today's review will be of Marquis Warren, as played by Samuel L. Jackson. The review will take the usual format. We'll have a quick look at the box, then it'll be down onto the table for a look at all the accessories. Then it'll be out with Abraham Lincoln's favourite pen pal himself, onto the stand, onto the turntable for a close-up look, and then finally we'll be wrapping the whole thing up with the usual showcase at the end. So, a bit of background. It's fair to say I am a huge Tarantino fan, and The Hateful Eight is up there with one of my personal favourites from Tarantino, including such work as Pulp Fiction, Inglourious Basterds, Django Unchained, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, in fact all of them. I don't think I've seen a Tarantino film I didn't like. But The Hateful Eight was originally intended as a sequel to Tarantino's first Western, Django Unchained, but eventually was released as a standalone piece which tells the tale of a group of strangers holed up from a blizzard in Minnie's haberdashery, where everyone is not as they seem. The movie holds the distinction of being the last movie to receive a full soundtrack from the genius that was Ennio Morricone before he passed away. But that's enough of my ramblings. On to the box. Let's have a look at the box itself. Quite a nice box too, very impressive, this all white look. What you've got on the front here is a sort of snowy tree scene in the background. People who've seen the film will know that I think it was actually filmed in the Colorado mountains. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was all filmed on location. Yeah, this is replicating that sort of snowy scene from the film itself. What you've got across the top is the 8th film by Quentin Tarantino. Then you've got these stripes, these 8 red stripes down the front here, which all correspond to one of the characters in the film. And then you have a blacked out line for which character that you're looking at. In the middle there, it says Marquis Warren, the bounty hunter. Picture of what I believe is actually Samuel L. himself in the middle there. That's not the figure, pretty certain of that. Bottom left-hand corner says The Hateful Eight. Across the middle there, 1/6 collectible action figure. It says Ultra Panavision 70 there, and that was the actual film stock that Tarantino used. Quite a rare film stock. Rather than doing it digitally, he used a film stock that had been used historically in the, I believe, in the 50s, 60s, and 70s for shooting large panoramas and epic screen pieces. So yeah, wanted that for the authenticity. Bottom right-hand corner, Asmus Toys logo. Bring the box round. What you got on the right-hand side here, once again a continuation of that snow scene, and an embossed Hateful Eight in the middle there. I think that's pretty much replicated on this side. Yes, it is. Hateful Eight again. On the top, it says The Hateful Eight, and you've got this blood spatter on the bottom. A few warnings there, and age limitations. And around the back, what are we looking at? There's a shot from the film itself. This is the carriage that I believe is carrying Daisy Domagru and John Ruth at the opening of the film. Then you've got the usual warnings and notices on the bottom here. Don't piss this figure off, or you might get a bullet. Not a warning, not a question, a bullet. But yeah, continue down on the bottom here. You've got a restricted notice. Once again, that Ultra Panavision 70 symbol. And yeah, very nicely presented it is. Very bold. Quite a simple design, but bold and striking. It's a slipcover design. We'll pop this slipcover off so you can take a look underneath. Obviously, it's not a new figure to me. The figure's been out of the box. So nothing behind this clear plastic window here. At the bottom here, you've got a continuation of that blood spatter effect. It says Major Marquis Warren, the bounty hunter at the top. On the sides, Hateful Eight again, continuation of that blood spatter. Same thing on this side. And around the back, you've got this sort of diorama scene stroke picture, which I believe is meant to replicate Minnie's haberdashery, which is a nice touch if you're wanting to remove this from the box or do photography. It's there for you if you need it. Not something I would use. You'd have to damage the box to take it off if you're wanting to put it in the back of a Detolf or something like that. But it's there, and I believe all the boxes come with separate images of the haberdashery itself. So yeah, there you have it. That's the box. So without further ado, let's get all the accessories out and dive down onto the table and have a look at everything that comes with your bounty hunter. Okay, so here we are, down on the table with all the accessories that come with your Major Marquis Warren. We will break from the norm here, and we will not start with the hands. We'll get the this instruction sheet out of the way first. Comes with a very, very simple instruction sheet on how to set up the base, how to swap out hands, and so on. So yeah, you get an instruction sheet. We'll put that out of the way. Now we will get on to the hands. You get 2 pairs of gloved hands. Quite simple, not too many hands. The other pair are on the figure. They're the ones that grip the guns. We'll take a look at this pair. These are slightly more relaxed and for gripping some of the other accessories. And as I said, both pairs are gloved. All one piece of sculpted plastic. You've got this soft plastic on the cuff area here. The sculpt itself is okay. It's not bad. You've got some detailing on here that picks out the seams in the gloves, down the fingers as well. You've got seams on the insides of the hands. There's some nice weathering on here. They painted this sort of off-white with this coating of sort of what looks like a brown dry brushing to give it that weathered effect. Yeah, this, as I say, seams down the fingers, seams in the insides of the hands. They are made of a medium plastic, medium to soft, so good for gripping accessories. And there's some detailing on the edge of the glove here as well. Some simulated stitching in the sculpt. So yeah, pretty good. And this is pretty much the same. The right and left hands, and they correspond. And the gloved hands themselves for carrying the guns on the figure are of the same quality, with the same weathering, the same sculpt. And we'll take a look at those when we bring the figure out. So that's the hands. We'll put those to one side. Comes with a couple of spare wrist pegs. Nice to see. Let's take a look at the hat. Now, we'll get this out of the way first of all. We'll get the elephant in the room out of the way. All one piece of sculpted plastic, not particularly well detailed, a bit rough on the top here. Sculpted in plastic band itself. There are some issues with this hat. Now, I will say at this point, this figure did not come to me brand new. I picked this up off another collector. And for reasons which will become obvious when we bring the figure out, he had another hat made for this particular figure. But we'll get to that. We'll get to the replacement hat when we bring the figure out. But yeah, nothing particularly fancy in this in the stock version itself, as I say. Very basic and quite rough looking, but it is what it is. So that's the hat. We'll put that to one side. Let's take a look at the guns. Comes with 2 guns and 2 gun holsters. The actual gun holsters themselves were actually not on the figure when it came new, and you have to take those out and put them on yourself. I've not taken them off for the purpose of this section because the buckles themselves are quite fiddly and quite thin plastic, and I don't want to risk snapping them, as I don't think they've aged too well. So we've left the gun belts on the figure, and we'll take a look at those when we bring it out. But the guns themselves are all one piece of sculpted plastic. Don't ask me what type of gun this is. Maybe a Colt, it might not be a Colt. I am no gun expert, but yeah, what you've got here is all one piece of sculpted plastic. Some nice paint applications on there. There's a little bit of dry brushing, silver dry brushing on the barrel there and on the chamber to give it a little bit of aging. The handle itself just looks like brown plastic, although there are some paint applications on there to give it that wood effect. So yeah, pretty simple. No cocking action here, no revolving chamber, but quite basic, but it does the job. Yeah, so that's gun number 1. Let's have a look at gun number 2. Pretty much the same story here, only this has got a black handle. Once again, you've got that dry brushing, some silver dry brushing on the gun metallic, on the gun paint, the gunmetal paint itself, if I can speak today, on the barrel there, and on the trigger guard, and this has got a black handle. There are a couple of washes of paint on there, maybe some dry brushing as well to give it a little bit of depth, but yeah, it does the job, and it's a pretty nice sculpt and pretty nice paint. So putting those to one side, we've got to remember here as well, we are looking at a 7-year-old figure. It was probably one of the oldest figures we've looked at actually on the channel so far, I think. I'd have to go back and check, but yeah. So yeah, it's got some years on it, this figure. So what else do you get? The Abraham Lincoln letter. The letter that Marquis Warren carries around with him for the duration of the film. A personal letter from Abraham Lincoln. It's just a small piece of decent quality paper here, and you've got some details printed on it there. I think the only thing you can really make out is it says Executive Mansion at the top there, Washington, and there's a date of January something 18 something. You can't really read it. There's not an awful lot on there, but that's legible. But you know, from a distance, actually not from a distance, from quite close up, it looks quite convincing as a 6-scale letter. So yeah, and you can have him holding it. You know, tuck it away in his pocket. But yeah, nice little touch there from Asmus. So we'll put the letter to one side. Let's take a look at these larger accessories. So you get this chest. Now, the chest itself is all one piece of sculpted hollow plastic. Some nice paint applications on there to give it that wood effect. There's weathering on there, in the cracks in there. The sculpt is nice because it picks out the indentations in the wood. You've got some bolt details there on the top and on the sides, and just overall, and on the bottom as well. Overall, some nice weathering and a pretty convincing 6-scale chest with a hole in the bottom. I am not quite sure what that hole is for. If anybody out there knows, please let me know. There's a corresponding one on the barrel. Now, I don't know whether this... I know that Asmus Toys produced a 6-scale Minis Haberdashery diorama to go with these figures. Unfortunately, I don't have that in the collection. I would like to have it in the collection, but I've never managed to find one out in the wild. Maybe these holes are something to do with that, and it's how they attach to that diorama, but I'm not sure. But if anybody knows, you know, please drop a comment in the comment section below. I'd be fascinated to find out what these holes are. But yeah, so you get the chest and the barrel. And the barrel's the same story here. Some nice paint applications on there, perhaps a little bit haphazard on the top here, but you've got that nice that wood effect again. Multiple paint applications to create that sort of worn and weathered look. And slightly battered, but the indentations and grooves and dinks, and there's dints in it, and yeah, but overall it's a very, very convincing weathered 6-scale barrel. So that's the barrel and the chest. Put those to one side. You also get this wooden bowl and spoon. Well, I say wooden; they're all sculpted plastic, but they're meant to replicate the bowl that he eats out of in the film. And yeah, sculpted plastic, painted really well to look like wood. There's some nice paint applications on there, especially on this bowl, to give it that sort of that wooden effect. There's some graining in the sculpt itself, and some scratches and marks on there, and weathering. So yeah, pretty convincing aged bowl and spoon. So I'll put that to one side, and finally, it comes with 2 stands. Now, I tend to use this one, but this is an option as well. So the first stand is very, very simple. Just one piece of sculpted plastic. And on the top here, it says The Hateful Eight in silver lettering, and 1/6 scale collectible action figure. Very, very simple. And comes with a crotch grabber that simply slots into place there. The second of the 2 bases, once again, all sculpted plastic, slightly more going on with this one. On the bottom here, you've got 4 felt pads, so minimise slippage if you're displaying it on a shelf or in a glass detail for anything like that. There's this pattern around the side, and on the top here, you've got this sticker to replicate the wooden floor of Minis Haberdashery. As I say, I personally prefer this one, but you've got the option, and it's nice to have 2 included. Both come with standard issue crotch grabber. This is a round one though, and fits in there. So yeah, choice of 2 stands, which is nice to see. So that's all the accessories that come with your figure. So without further ado, let's bring out the bounty hunter himself, get him onto the stand, onto the turntable, and have a close-up look at him. Okay, so here he is. It's Major Marquis Warren himself, aka Samuel L. Jackson. So, has he stood the test of time? Well, let's find out. I can't give first impressions, obviously, because this is not a brand new figure to me. But I can give second impressions, and second impressions are still very, very good. The outfit looks screen accurate to me and on point and well made. The proportions look right. We'll come to the head sculpt when we get in a bit closer to him, but overall, as an overall package, I'm still pretty impressed considering its age, just how well this figure stood up. But we'll stop him from turning and do as we always do. We'll start at the bottom and work our way up. We've got him on the alternate stand here, the one with the wooden sticker on top and the edging. Yeah, as I say, first impressions, or second impressions, maybe even third, are still pretty good. We'll get him off the stand and get him into shot here. Now, I'll say from the get-go here that I won't be taking this coat off, simply because it is such a nightmare to get this coat back on once you've got it off. So we'll struggle and try and do the entire costume and outfit around this rather nice military coat that he's wearing. But we'll start with the feet. Now, what you've got here are all one piece of sculpted solid plastic, hard plastic here. There's no giving this whatsoever, no articulation at all. I believe it's just pegged straight in somewhere around the ankle area. So yeah, just one solid piece of sculpted plastic, no tread on the bottom, just says Asmus Toys there. The super high gloss, nicely painted to look like leather, screen accurate. Some creasing on the top. There's a bit of weathering, perhaps could do with some more weathering. I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but yeah, super shiny. The paint applications are quite nice to give it that leather look, but yeah, you're not going to be doing any posing with these legs other than from the knee up, because yeah, they're all solid. So the knee joints themselves are pretty good. There's a double joint in both knees. We'll move up to the actual suit itself. We'll take this scarf off for the time being, so it'll simply get in the way, and we'll come back to that. The suit itself, the body feels pretty good. The joints are still working well. They're not worked loose. They're not overly tight. There's no looseness there. The suit itself underneath here is a black cotton. The stitch work is nice. We'll get this into shot. Yeah, the seam work there is really nice. It feels like a good quality cotton here. You work your way up. There's a waistcoat on the torso itself. Now, this waistcoat is made out of a slightly different material. There's almost a velvety suede feeling to this material, and the collar itself is a shiny black nylon, which is once again screen accurate. The costume here, I think they've done a particularly good job on. You've got 6 scale buttons on this suit jacket. The stitch work on that suit jacket is nice. Pockets aren't functional. I don't believe function. It's going to call me a liar here. I think they actually do. So you've got functioning pockets in there. But the stitch work, as I say, is really, really good. And once again, screen accurate to the suit that he wore in the film. These are the 2 belts that I mentioned. Now, yeah, a little bit fiddly these to get on and off, which is why they remain on. But they're both pleather, I believe. Although I'm not 100% certain, actually. These could be leather. I think in the instructions it says that they're leather. I'll have to revisit them though. If they are leather, I say props to Asmus for that. I'll double check that before we wrap this whole thing up. But the belts themselves, if I can lift this coat up, I've got sculpted in bullets there. There's some on that side and some on that side. There is a brown belt and a black belt to hold the corresponding guns. Moving up, we've got this nice white shirt, pretty well done actually. I mean, I've seen some figures produced recently with worse collars than this. I'm not going to name names, but yeah, the stitch work on that shirt is really, really nice, and the quality of the cotton feels very, very good. I can't feel any padding on this, but it's got so many layers of clothing, it's difficult to tell whether the actual figure itself is padded underneath this, but it doesn't feel as though it is. The tie itself is a little on the large side. It's the right colour, and having this pin in the centre is good. It's made of that slightly rigid material, which I like to see, which means that it's not going to sort of flap around and get in the way. But yeah, I think that knot is slightly too large, but overall the screen accuracy is there. Now, getting on to this military coat. Now, the eagle-eyed amongst you will probably have noticed there's some rubbing here on the yellow section, and that is because this material itself is not particularly colour fast. and time hasn't been kind to it. So if it rests on any of the lighter areas, it has a habit of transferring this dark colour to whatever it touches. And I think it's the nature of the material they've used. It's almost like that. It's got that brushed cotton feel to it. That tends to hang heavy with dye when it's in the dyeing process, and then a lot can stay within the material itself and transfer to other pieces of material on the figure. But overall, the quality of the stitch work is really good. The screen accuracy is there with this large flap that hangs over the shoulders. It's got functioning pockets on either side. And also, which is really nice to see, is this whole back flap here is actually wired. There's a thin wire running the full length of the flap itself. So if you're wanting to futz around with it to get the look that you want, to get it to sit the way you want it to sit, you can do that as well. So another nice touch there from Asmus. These tassels on either side of that coat are actually plastic that's been stuck onto the material itself. These aren't, there's no weave to this, it's simply a case of a sculpted piece of plastic stuck straight to the front there. But overall, yeah, the proportions are good. The screen accuracy is pretty much on point. Maybe that tie could do with some work. And also you get one of a really nice touch here is the pocket watch. There's actually a pocket watch here, and if I can get this to come out, it doesn't want to move, but I'm going to try and get it to come out. It's been in there for a long time. Yeah, you do get this. I'll try and get this into shot so we can see it properly. I'll rest it on the holster there and bring it close into shot. Yeah, a really nicely sculpted 6-scale pocket watch with some weathering on the front there, which is and just very well done and very accurate, and yeah, and in keeping with the rest of the figure. So overall, the outfit, bar some niggly issues, the paint transfer, or the dye transfer, should I say, from this coat, not good. But overall, it's well fitted, and it looks screen accurate, and yeah, and it's been very well done. And I like the materials they've used here as well. The layering's really nice, and it just feels premium. The outfit feels premium, bar that issue with the dye, as I said. So the head sculpt. Let's get this guy into shot and have a look at this head sculpt. Yeah, is that Samuel L. Jackson from The Hateful Eight? It's close, but no cigar. It's all one fixed neck head sculpt. There's no interchangeable heads here. I mean, it's instantly recognizable as the character, but yeah, I would say that there are some issues there. We've got to remember, we're looking at a 7-year-old figure here, and head sculpts have come on in leaps and bounds, has most of the technology in producing these figures. But overall, it's pretty good. I would say the mouth is most certainly off. From the moustache upwards, it's most certainly is Samuel L. Jackson. I think that the problems occur in the lower part of the face here. Those lips just don't look like Samuel L. at all. However, the eyes are really nicely sculpted. They're nice and glassy. The paint applications are good. I think there should be some more wrinkling on this face, and I don't think the eyes are particularly centered where they should be, which is maybe what's throwing this head sculpt off. But the paint applications are good. The beard and the moustache are done quite nicely with some individual strands picked out. It's a little soft perhaps, as is the hair around the back here. I'll try and get this as close in as I can. Yeah, there's some of the, by today's standards we would say it's soft, but overall I think for a 7-year-old head sculpt they've not done a bad job there. Could it be better? And it's difficult to judge these things. 7 years down the line, we have seen so many improvements in the quality of head sculpts. So 7 years on, it's a little unfair to judge it by today's standards. I would have said 7 years ago, that's a very good head sculpt. Today, I'll just say it's a good head sculpt, and I'm not going to be unfair and try and score it out of 10, because we are in 2024, and it's a different ball game, as we all know. But yeah, I think overall they really have captured the likeness, it perhaps not as accurately as it could have been. We'll bring this hat in, and I think this is probably a good time actually just to take a look at why this figure really needs a separate hat. We'll bring in the original hat. Now this is the hat that Asmus Toys gave us. and we will attempt to put this on. And as you can see, that is pretty appalling. It doesn't fit. It really, I mean, that, to me, that is, yeah, that's a no, that's a non-starter, that one. Completely dropped the ball on that one, Asmus Toys. I mean, and considering the attention to detail on the rest of the figure, why they gave us that hat, I do not know. But thank goodness the previous owner decided he was going to acquire another one. This is the one that he acquired. We'll pop this one on him. Now that works. For me, that works. We'll get that on there. And I think actually with the hat on, it does improve the likeness to Samuel L. So maybe something up here around this head area as well is wrong. Maybe it's the shape of his head, the shape of his face, I don't know. But having that hat on, to me, it does pop more as Samuel L. Jackson. So there you have it. That is Asmus Toys' take on Major Marquis Warren from The Hateful Eight, aka Samuel L. Jackson. So I hope you've enjoyed this review. All it remains for me to say is thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed taking a look at this figure with me. Please, if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification icon. I know a lot of people out there are watching the channel and not actually subscribing. So please turn that view into a subscription. It will be greatly appreciated. It keeps us going here at Go Figure, and yeah, it would be fantastic if you could do that for us. What have we got coming up on the channel? Well, in the 1/6 scale world, there is a lot of stuff. Need to mention this though, actually, before we wrap this up. I almost forgot. Is the 6 scale scarf that he comes with? We'll stop him from spinning and actually put this on, because it really does finish the figure off nicely. So we'll bring him round again. Apologies for that. I'm getting old and forgetful. Let's pop that round his neck there. Futz it down a little bit. Bring this in and pop the good hat on, as opposed to that. Well, I'm not even going to call it a hat from the original one. So there we go, and let's get him spinning again. So yeah, what have we got coming up on the channel? In the 1/6 scale world, there is loads of stuff on the horizon. We have got, obviously, we're going to be reviewing the Daisy Domagru and the John Ruth to go with this figure. We've got the Blitzway Astro Boy version 2.0, that's on its way to us. HH model Achilles, aka Brad Pitt from Troy. There is Art Figures Furion, that's Vin Diesel from the Chronicles of Riddick. Premier Toys Interstellar Double Pack and the Doof Warrior from Fury Road. Org Toys Paul Atreides, Still Suit Edition. The Mondo McCready, aka Kurt Russell from The Thing. What else? Oh, lots more. Too much to list here. But on top of that, we've also got more retro reviews coming in. We've got 1/12 scale stuff, 1/4 scale stuff. So, as I said before, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and hit that bell notification icon. So I suppose all it remains for me to say is thank you for watching, and from me and from Major Marquis Warren himself, it's take care of yourselves, happy collecting, and it's over to the showcase.